Hi, welcome to the Jeezy Reader. I'm Jeezy of Nazarene, and today we have our special guest, Bethany Browning. Yay! Hi, welcome to the Jeezy Reader. I'm your host, Jeezy of Nazarene, and joining me today is independent best-selling author. No, I wouldn't say best-selling, but you're award-winning.
I am more
Have
winning.
you had Bethany Browning? Yay!
Good morning, Jeezy. Thank you for having me on your show.
You are most welcome. Thank you for being here and being a good sport. And you'll have to pardon the darkness of my environment. The light blew out and I don't have a spare ball.
Oh my gosh. Well, can't you just talk to your dad about that? I mean, let there be light and whatnot.
I said let there be light, and he made it storm, so it's gray. And I just have a little ring light now to
All right.
illuminate my handsome face.
It is very handsome. Well, you look fine regardless of the darkness. You know, it kind of gives you a mysterious glow.
Ethereal glow. A heavenly light.
A heavenly light, a halo, if you will.
Yeah, I would prefer the halo over the crown of thorns any day.
That's right. That's right. I'll drink to that.
That was right. Oh, are you drinking coffee?
I am.
How do you drink your coffee? This is the hard-hitting question.
Okay, so well, this is very important. So I put as much sugar in it as I can. This morning my partner put whipped cream in it.
Oh.
So I'm on a sugar and caffeine high, much like I think every independent author basically lives on this concoction. So, and slivers of hope.
I think I'm going to invent heavily caffeinated hot chocolate.
That's right.
That's what most authors are drinking anyway. Except for those ones who are like, I like my coffee black.
Yeah, I can't. Then it tastes like coffee. Why would I want that?
I invented the coffee bean, but I also invented sugar and cream.
Thank you, Jesus.
So that is exactly how I expect people to. That is the 11th commandment, people. No more drinking bitter black coffee.
Amen.
I don't drink coffee.
No?
No, because I really wrote one best-selling book of all time.
Yeah, that's true. Well, you had a little help, Jeezy. I don't mean to like put you on the spot, but you worked with some ghostwriters on this one.
There were, because there was, look, and then 4 of them told the same exact story.
Right?
Like no originality.
None.
Just a little bit of different details here and there based on their point of view, but whatever.
They've just been riding your coattails.
Exactly. So you live in are you in California?
I am. I'm in California. I live in Northern California. I live like deep in the forest in a very cold. This is why I'm wearing a sweater today while everybody else, it's 100 degrees everywhere else. But here in my little spot, it's actually cold all the time. So.
Oh. Well, I should probably have regulated the temperature in that area of the world a little bit better.
Oh, I love it. No, are you kidding? I moved here because it's cold.
Well, I am currently in Baltimore, Maryland.
Is that right? Okay.
Yes.
Yes, go Ravens.
Yeah, go Ravens.
I love Baltimore. Yeah, I've been to Annapolis a couple times.
Oh, Annapolis is beautiful. I love the water, and I wanted to live in a coastal state where I can enjoy things like hurricane weather and nor'easters. Those create some crazy weather anomalies.
They do. You're very brave for staying. I applaud you.
Do you guys get a lot of rain in Northern California?
We do. It's kind of things have changed over the years.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
So we get these. Yeah. Thanks a lot, buddy. We get these kind of atmospheric rivers that come through. So we'll get 40 days and 40 nights of rain, and then it will just stop forever, and then everything lights on fire. So we've got that going on, and
40 days and 40 nights, huh?
Yeah.
Sounds familiar.
No.
Not my first time at the rodeo.
No, I'm sure it's not.
Have you always lived in California, or were you like, I want to be a dazzling Californian, and move there?
No, I haven't always lived here. I grew up in South Carolina, actually.
Oh,
Yeah, and I
that's a
spent
that's a pretty big change.
it's a huge change. And it's actually interesting because I do feel like people who are from South Carolina kind of don't leave South Carolina that often.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
a lot of times I meet people and they say they've never met anybody from there, which I find sort of interesting. But yeah, so I grew up there and then I went to boarding school actually in Atlanta. So I lived in Georgia for a while and then I went to college in Boston.
Like on purpose, or were you a bad girl?
Well, you've read my book, Jeezy.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
I'll let you
Oh,
draw your own conclusions.
so you were a bridge burner. I get it.
A little bit of a bridge burner. Yeah. So anyway, and I ended up marrying somebody who was from California and we moved anyway. We're not married anymore, but I stayed because California is magnificent.
It does sound lovely. That's
Yeah,
the
it's great.
one state where you can have all kinds of terrain, all kinds of weather. You can have high crime, low crime, earthquakes,
It's true.
wildfires, all kinds of good stuff.
It's a mixed bag, but it's a beautiful place to live and the people are nice and I've been really happy here. So I'll
Where
stay.
is where is wine country, and why are you all treading on my business?
Right. Well, I worked in the wine business for a long time. I did public relations for big wine companies for many, many, many years. And we really don't mean to be stealing any of your business. It's really more of an enhancement, I would say, bringing
Hmm.
your sanguinations to the nation.
There we, you know, people really don't see wine as a holy experience, but I think that it is, and it should be.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, sure. I can see that from your point of view for sure. But a
So
lot of
many,
people just drink it because, it makes them feel good.
right. But it also leads people to find me and my father, because the Trinity were the same. Like
Right.
people like hugging the toilet saying, "Oh God, if you get me through this, I'll never drink again."
It's true. It's
So
true.
it's yeah, it's a
Happens to a
real
lot of people.
yeah, it's a religious experience.
It is. Yes, that is not uncommon. That's
Yeah,
true. Mhm.
yeah. Now, the people that drink the devil's water, like that vodka and stuff, that's not a religious experience. That is anti-religion.
It is. Okay, so all right, so that's good to know. So impounding hard liquor,
Yes,
that's
yes,
demonic as opposed to heavenly, which is sipping wine.
exactly. And
Okay.
really, the key word is sip. You sip and you savor wine. And whether it comes in a wonderful glass bottle or a cheap box, it's
Yeah.
all good. You sip it. Nobody's saying. And then what do you do with hard liquors? You shoot it. And
Right.
shoot being the criminal word, because when you shoot something, it dies.
That's right. That you make an excellent point. I never thought of it that way. Shots. Continue.
Exactly. And
Right.
that
Okay.
and that
I'm
is that
gonna
is
tell everybody I know this
yes.
little wisdom. I'm really learning something here today,
Yes.
Jeezy.
You can share that with, if you still know people in the vino community, you can feel
Yes.
free to share that with them.
I will. I will. Thank you. That's very helpful.
So you first came on my radar. I don't really have an account. I use my assistant's account,
Oh,
and
right.
I was on Threads and I saw just by happenstance somebody you promoting a book called Sasquatch Baby.
That's
And
correct.
being rather hirsute myself, I thought, wow, this is really probably about me. Well, it turns out it wasn't about me. But it was a book called Sasquatch Baby, and I read the blurb, and I had told my assistant to buy it post haste. And
Well,
let me tell my viewers, this is a book that is going to go in directions that you really don't expect, although you should because of the title of the book. But it is a slower build up to bat guano craziness.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
it is about let me get this, because there's some parallels here. There is a advertising, like a wine advertising woman named Tabitha eggs,
Mm-hmm.
and she is pretty much hit rock bottom. And that poor soul decides that there is nothing better to do than to go into a cabin in the woods in Northern California and drink herself to death.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I would have rather done that than go through what I went through. So I get it. I get it.
Right?
Yeah.
It's all very civilized, really.
Yeah, you just do it. You keep drinking until you fall asleep and you never wake up.
That's right.
And it's fire. Like that is a gangster way to go. You're just gonna drink, have no worries, and then that's it.
That's it.
So she decides that that's the route she's going to take. She goes into the woods because she was a bridge burner. She pretty much ruined a lot of friendships, made really poor choices,
Yes,
and her chickens came home to roost.
they did.
And she was broken and decided that she was going to end her life. But while she's in the cabin, she discovers in the woods 2 dead bodies, and that sets into motion a chain of events that forever alters her destiny. And there's a raging wildfire. There is a hairy creature out in the woods that seems obsessed with her, and things just go off the rails from there.
Pretty much.
So my question to you is, what the hell is wrong with you?
So much. I mean, do you want the whole list or just a general overview?
We don't have time for what I assume is a rather robust list.
It's a very robust list. I had some feelings I wanted to express through this book, and I tend to approach very dark topics with a sense of humor. And so I wanted to really talk about what it's like when a woman alienates people in her life, how she responds to that, but then all the kind of magical things that can happen when you hit rock bottom and decide to face what you've done. When she really does face what she's done, even though she kind of doesn't.
Yeah, she does. And she could have been a horrible, horrible character. She has done horrible things. She ruined relationships. She sleeps around, but that's not the sin part, because that's everybody sleeps around.
Well, sure. I mean, that's normal young girl behavior,
right.
But especially in the wine business. But yeah, I think, well, and then, but she's got that whole other twisty secret. So that's what
yes.
So she's done something even more horrible than
Which,
just being
yes.
kind of a slutty little whore, and being mean to her friends. It was actually much deeper than that. So we learn about that. But then she's sort of offered this chance at redemption through this relationship with this forest primate who, for some reason, loves her just as she is. So, yeah.
So the way that I read it, and first of all, again, the book that we're talking about is called Sasquatch Baby, and it is currently available. You can get it on. Oh, there's the cover. And I will put the cover up. I don't know if you saw the clips from the other video. The clips don't have the actual book, but somewhere around here, I'll have the actual book cover superimposed so people can see that as well. And but first of all, that cover is great. It's like one of those welcome baby signs. And the closer you look at it, the weirder it gets. It's wonderful.
That was exactly the plan. So that's an actual photo. I staged it. My partner and I staged this on our kitchen counter. And so, yeah, made the little baby announcement and everything, and then just trashed it. And then there's all kinds of symbology from the book on the first page. I mean, on this cover. And that's my actual hand down there in the corner.
Oh,
sort of putting this. So we had a whole photo shoot. It was a really fun day. We got to kind of like figure out how to get those cigarettes smoked without actually smoking them, because smoking that many at one time would be. So yeah, it's been a creative project all the way through, from the cover to the story to marketing and everything. It's been a great experience.
And that really is the bane of being an indie author. An indie author. That's really the bane, is that you have to do everything by yourself. And it's a lot of work, and sometimes the return on investment isn't, you never really get that back. But kudos to every indie author out there doing the work, putting in the effort, and just continuing and writing more wonderful books. But
Right.
Sasquatch Baby.
Yes,
Um,
like Sasquatch Baby.
exactly. So that book, the way that I read it, she seemed like a very unreliable narrator. And the elements are so fantastical that to me, Jeezy, um, at the end, I thought, did this even happen? Or is this all in her head? Because the way that things turn out, it could be a happy-ish ending. She's got
Mhm.
an entirely different life than she had at the beginning of the book.
Uh-huh.
And but when you wrote it, did you intend for it to be, it is what it is, or is this one of those, it's however the reader wants to interpret it?
That's a great question because I think that's something that, as an author, you get asked that quite a bit. Like, did you mean for this to be metaphorical? And once I got that question for the first time, I didn't really know how to answer it because, like you said, it had never occurred to me before that it could be metaphorical.
Oh,
And I was
so
like,
that's a,
well, maybe
so
this is, because when you write it, it's like, oh no, this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. And, you know, but other people have met this character now, and I'm not the only person who knows her anymore. So other people have their opinions of her and how she thinks. And if they believe that she has the kind of imaginative streak, the kind of way of looking at the world, the way of sort of punishing herself too, is it possible that she just invented this excuse to become better, that her own evolution came from within, but she had to sort of create this monstrous
right. It's like
fairy
it doesn't
tale.
matter how you got there as long as you got there.
Right. So
It,
I wrote it as if it was real. I mean, I can
okay.
say that, but at the same time, it's actually a little more interesting if you approach it from the standpoint that it could be something that she's using to self-soothe. I mean,
Right.
clearly her
So
brain is cracked.
right. So
So
the way that I looked at it is I kind of looked at it in reverse. It is that some people showing up in from her past and seeing her at oh, I don't want to give too much away.
okay.
But the people show up in the present day and they see where she is, and so she decides to tell the story of how she got there. And well, because she was successful. She was she had money, and she had a great, well, money doesn't make you happy, but she, by all accounts, she was, outward appearances, she was successful.
Right,
Um,
right.
and then how does she end up where she ends up? And then, somebody from the old days shows up, they see her, and then she fills in the gas of how she got there. And along the way, maybe she embellished something. And that's the way that I saw it. And maybe she isn't as happy, or who knows. But that's just the way that I saw it. And I didn't know if that was intentional, but I think it worked wonderfully unintentionally.
Yeah, I think it does too. I like that thought process that she kind of solved her own problem. And you're right, she may not be happy, but she did face and resolve her pain and her guilt and her distress at how she had behaved before. And however she got there, it kind of doesn't matter really, because she's okay. She's
Right.
okay with the decisions she made and how she managed herself after.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think I really should leave that this is we'll use the word horror because there's a lot of horrific elements in it, but it's a horror comedy. And the humor in it is very front and center. The dialogue is snappy and witty, and Tabitha is sarcastic and self-deprecating, and she always has even when she's talking about ending things, it's still filled with humor. And it's just a different, this could have been a much bleaker book, and I really enjoy that it stayed within the realm of humor.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a funny person, and she views things from a funny angle. And I think it because she grew up not taking herself seriously and not being taken seriously by the people around her. She alludes to some time when she tried to sort of involve herself in the family business and was only kind of laughed at. So
Exactly.
So she becomes a clown because she thinks that's what people want. She wants to entertain people. She thinks that's how she gets love. And it's through this experience that she realizes that she no longer has to perform. She has to show up. And she showed up for Meatball.
Right. She learns that she can survive on her own.
Yeah,
She can be out there doing it. Ladies out there doing it for themselves.
that's right. Exactly. Even if your life doesn't look exactly like you envisioned it would, you can still build something that gives you contentment and satisfaction, while still facing the damage that you've done to others.
It really does have a modern, strong feminism kind of vibe to it, because she's really out there doing it by herself. Yes, there's a guy, but everything that she goes through and where she ends up is in spite of the male character that comes into her life. She's still so it is a very strong feminist message. And I don't know again if that was even intended, but it's, being a female author, you probably just wrote from the female perspective. And that I really enjoyed that aspect.
Well, thank you. And I also, I do, as a female author with a feminist bend, I do tend to write male characters that are a little less lovable in my other work, in my short stories and some other books that I've written. And I really think in Sasquatch Baby, the men who are in this book, and there's not that many, but they are extremely well evolved. They're helpful to her. They care about her, but they still kind of leave her to figure it out on her own. Like you said, like they assist. And I liked writing male characters like that, because there are men out there who care about what happens to women. And there are men out there who are willing to step up and help when it's uncomfortable and awkward and weird. And there's a cryptid involved and there's danger, and all these things.
It
And
wasn't,
they
yeah.
were there, really did take her under their wing and help her without mansplaining.
Yes, and their intentions, they were like, girl, you're in danger. You need to leave.
Yes.
There were really no ulterior motives. That there
Yeah.
was nothing disgusting about them. So in this book, I think all the characters were very well written, very, for the most part, very realistic, except for the title character. Which, let me let you in on a little secret. They exist.
I think so too.
Yeah. They're people aren't just drinking moonshine and seeing these things.
No.
Yeah, they're out there. We created them up in heaven. The closest anybody got was Harry and the Hendersons. I don't know if you ever saw that movie.
Of course, I can't even think about it without crying though. When John Lithgow has to hit Harry in the face.
Oh yeah.
I'm still so surprised by that.
Oh, I didn't expect that. Sorry.
I get very sad. I have a lot of like bad things happening to animals in my stories sometimes, but I'm a huge softie about that kind of thing. Like I can't watch animals being hurt. I can't hear about it. Nothing. So I'm very surprised that I actually have like some of these things popping up in my stories, because I don't like it in real life.
Well, I think, especially if you're doing more, if there's a horror bend to the bent to the story, I think that's just you kind of lean into your own fears and what disgusts you. And that's what you tend to put to paper.
What I grieve, I grieve over animal suffering.
Yes,
and I write a lot about grief. And so that kind of ends up in my stories, but it's usually from the perspective of someone being sad about it. It's not gratuitous. It's not, and I think the same thing, what we were you mentioned earlier, that Sasquatch do exist, that Bigfoot is out there. And I just want to talk about that a little bit. The way that I approached this book, is that I wanted to really honor and not make fun of the communities that hunt and seek and are interested in cryptids and following these stories and finding these things. I don't make the Sasquatch a joke in this book. She cracks some jokes about it because she's ignorant, at that
right. Because
she's making but I think I really did make a very serious attempt to take those communities seriously and to not make fun at all of the community that hunt Sasquatch or cryptid communities, because I have a lot of respect for people who are willing to go out and do something that other people are going to make fun of them for, but that they're passionate enough and they believe enough to have this interest and to continue to bring forth the evidence that these things exist.
Yes, as a member of the international skipping community, I understand what it is like to be made fun of.
Yes. I know. This is not making fun of Sasquatch. This is not making fun of the communities at all. The humor is not based on mocking anyone outside of the main character. So I just want to be very clear about that. So if there are people out there who respect the Sasquatch community and maybe don't want to pick it up because they think it's mocking or
Oh, it's definitely not that. It
it's
is
not.
actually handled very sensitively.
I think so. I thank you for saying that. Yeah, I really tried to do that.
And the only ones who really want to hurt the Sasquatch are those who are afraid of him.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
When's the last time you've skipped just for joy?
Last time I skipped just for joy. Well, you know, I kind of bounce as I walk sort of naturally.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
kind of like,
That'll work.
I walk into, I don't use the car a lot, so I walk a lot. So I kind of do, I do with my dog and stuff, like we do little dances, and so I'm just kind of normally it's kind of a bouncy, dancy person. So I don't know that I've skipped, but I do kind of move a lot when I walk. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, absolutely. It's close enough to skipping.
Yeah.
I'll send you a enrollment form for the International Skipping Club.
I would love it. Skipping is great for you. It's very healthy. It's a very fun activity and it's good for your brain. It releases a lot of dopamine and
Yes, it just makes you happy.
it does. It does. I agree. So I'm going to definitely give it a try. I'll put that on my rotation when I'm walking the dog. I'll make sure I skip.
I probably shouldn't have just done a little skipping right on camera because it exposed it a little too much, and now people are probably aware of how the sausage gets made.
Well, yes, there's a hand in a place that you probably don't want people to see.
Yeah, it's not my crowning moment, but you do what you gotta do.
Crowning moments, though. You're good, Jeezy.
Oh yeah, yeah. Don't need any more of that.
Nope.
Unless I get a tiara.
Oh, right. Well, there you go. You should have a tiara.
Who doesn't want a tiara? Just
I can't imagine why you wouldn't. I definitely want one. If I had one, I would wear it every day.
see that? I'm working on baby bangs.
I like it.
Yeah, it's one of those midlife things. I was just
Yeah,
like,
I understand the midlife things.
I was like, you know what you really need, Jeezy? Bangs.
Yeah, I had a hairstylist tell me once that if I ever came in and asked for bangs, he was gonna tell me to turn around and go home and fix my life.
Oh no!
So,
I mean, no offense to people who can pull bangs off, but
yeah. Yeah, I can't. Well, I think, bangs are that thing that, that you do. It's like you go through, it's like a mental thing, oh, well,
yeah,
maybe bangs will change my life. Well, no, bangs are not going to change your life.
bangs have never changed anybody's life, and that is a fact.
Except maybe Zoe Deschanel.
Oh, that did you see that picture? With her with bangs without doesn't even look like the same person.
No, that woman should wear bangs everywhere she goes. Otherwise, she just looks strange.
That was a lot of forehead, to be
Yeah,
honest.
the five head, we call
Yeah,
that.
the 5 head, yes. 5.5.
She's a
She's
beautiful woman. She's a beautiful woman.
she's very beautiful. And she's hilarious. Loved the new girl. Loved it.
Loved it. Yep.
So you have a new book coming out called Troubles Afoot. Now, I've purchased this book and it is on my Kindle device, but I'm not going to read it until next month when I go on a cruise.
Oh, it's going to be a good cruise read for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a zippy little mystery. It's very it's a cozy mystery. It's very different from Sasquatch Baby. It's going to be a little less spicy in terms of the humor,
Okay.
but it's still funny and there's some sad moments. But yeah, it's just a quick, very twisty, kind of lighthearted mystery romp through Hollywood in the 60s and modern.
Oh,
So yeah, so it's a very different departure, and that's only available on Kindle.
this isn't going to go the route that that Quentin Tarantino movie did, where it's Hollywood in the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. The Manson gang isn't going to show up and take anybody out, are they?
Not
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
but there's definitely shenanigans. There are shenanigans, but not that violent. It's a cozy mystery. So a cozy mystery tends to be a little less bloody,
Yes,
everything.
I love cozy mysteries. I read Joanna Fluke. She writes all those. Yeah, she has and then I like the Aurora Tea Garden mysteries.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're great. And that was Charlene Harris who really wrote some steamy stuff for her True Blood days, but then she kind of dialed it back. And although the books are a little, they're not the same as the movies on Lifetime. I mean, on Hallmark.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, they're a little more. The Aurora Teagarden mysteries are a little more spicy. The
Okay.
books than,
Yeah, and they
but I
more.
do love cozy mystery
Oh,
books.
well,
It's
I do too. I wrote two others too that if you want to hear about those. So
oh yeah.
this is Dead Spread. So this is
Oh
my first cozy mystery. This is available in print and on Kindle. And this is the story of a tarot card reader and her pet raven. And
oh
there's a murder in her town. It's called Prosperity. And she has to solve the murder because people suspect that she and her raven were involved in a satanic ritual.
oh
But there's also a sequel to that called Queen of Tentacles,
oh
where we go to the town of, it's a seaside mystery that has pirates, and also the Raven is back, and lots of tarot cards and lots of clever, quirky people in a seaside town, which is kind of like Mendocino in California. So we've got those two cozy mysteries if you'd be interested in those two,
well, those sound a little too much like witchcraft, and that's I have an image to keep up.
That's right. That's
I
true.
will read them. I will read them.
Well, no, I don't want you to be offended, Jeezy. You know, I do know that you and your tarot card things might not match, but
Yeah,
you know, for those viewers who maybe don't have that sensitivity might be interested in picking it up.
yeah,
So,
yes, and I would highly encourage it.
yeah.
Because you do write amazingly well. You should be you should be traditionally published. I know that is a very hard thing to break into, but also being an indie does have its benefits.
It does, but I think, you know, we all want to get to the big show,
Oh
right?
yeah,
You know, we do this because, you know, and truthfully, yeah, I mean, I'm working on some things now that I hope are more marketable to the traditional market, they're darker, more horror based, less fun, less kind of quirky. Um, so yeah, I mean, I would love to be traditionally published. I'm certainly not shutting down that avenue at all. But at the same time, Jeezy, you probably are aware that it's extremely daunting
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
just continually get rejected, rejected, rejected,
Right.
rejected.
My book wasn't technically my book wasn't even traditionally published. It was just a bunch of scrolls at first, and then
That's
yeah,
true.
and then some gay king was like, "I'm gonna combine all this stuff and write the definitive version and put it out." And that's what happened. And that's what King James did. And then, but still, that wasn't like a publishing house. He just paid somebody to do it for him.
Well,
So
that's right. It's not like
yeah,
he went out and put out a bunch of paperbacks for people to read.
exactly. And does the same thing that indie authors do: give away so many copies. They're just in
Yeah,
hotels. You
that's
can
right.
get a copy of the Bible for free. Just go to a hotel and steal it. And I know that that's a sin, but you just got to ask for forgiveness, and I'll do it.
Well, I know it's true. You're probably not getting royalties on those anymore. It's
No,
probably in
no,
the,
no. That's why I'm trying to hope this YouTube channel takes off.
I know, I know. I hope it works out for you, Jeezy. I really do.
Jeezy needs a new pair of sandals.
Jeezy does. It's a lot of walking, a lot of
Yeah,
skipping to do.
a lot of skipping. These are the same sandals that John was not fit to whatever he said.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Talk about John the Baptist. Something
Yeah,
about
yeah.
him not being who's late. You know what? I never read it.
You know, he lost his head.
Yeah, yeah. And when you think about it, I let that happen.
Well, I mean, I
Oops.
don't want to point any fingers, but yeah, you might have been able to, you
Yeah,
might have been able
just
to.
weird that I just let it happen. But
I mean, it is weird, but you can't, you make choices. You're inscrutable. You know,
yes, yes.
you are allowed to, you move in mysterious ways.
So trouble's afoot. I noticed that the cover features a severed foot and a shoe. Is that to tap into the foot fetish market?
It is. Yeah,
Ah.
that's exactly what it is. It's an entire book about foot fetishes. So, it's actually just in the middle, it's just nothing but feet pics. That's
Oh,
it. Yeah.
well, there you go. That's going to be your #1 bestseller.
So I think so. There's a coloring book. No, actually, so it's Cinderella coded is what it is. So
Oh,
yeah, so the thing is that the book is not a retelling of Cinderella at all. But I've pulled moments from that fairy tale and pulled a lot of the character names,
okay.
and other kind of little names of things, street names and that kind of stuff from the original, not the Disney version.
Okay, from the Brothers Grimm or
Yeah, yes, from the
whoever.
old dark stuff and the Chinese version and the South American version and all over. So I've kind of pulled in all these different little tidbits that kind of give the story this Cinderella wrapping without
I'm
it being
into it.
about Cinderella. So the foot in the shoe is the first clue that we get in this murder mystery. It washes up on the beach. And
What they
so that,
do.
that's the whole kind of Cinderella moment with the shoe. So we're trying to figure out who the shoe belongs to.
Okay. So there's
But
not
it's a
somebody
glass
just
slipper. It's a golden slipper like the
okay,
original.
okay.
I don't want
So
Disney's
it's
my ass.
yeah,
Yeah,
glass slipper just seems like an accident waiting to happen.
it really does. I would never wear one. There's no give in the, I mean,
No.
I've got to move, especially if I've got to be home by midnight, I can't be having glass slippers. That makes no sense to me. So we
Yeah,
put her in a nice cloth pump.
there you go. That's the way to do it.
This one.
Yeah, glass. Whoever came up with the glass, Disney's out of their mind. I've been in the desert. I've stepped on a shard of glass before. That hurt. Not as much as a nail being driven through my feet, but
Well, I gotta say that your tolerance for pain and suffering is pretty high. I mean, if
well,
anybody could wear a glass slipper, it's you.
I
But
knew it's not like I did talk to my dad about it, and he did explain that it was going to be rough. So I had an idea, but let me tell you that first nail, I had to bite the inside of my cheek.
ooh, that's a oof moment right there. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
smart. That's smart. And it's the thing is, I had to imagine it kind of hurt your feelings a little bit too. I mean, like,
it's sort of like
you were a nice guy, I don't
yeah,
want
exactly.
to
You
help
know what?
you.
I did a lot. I fed so many people at that wedding. With
I
do you know
know.
how hard it is to keep making fish right on bread right on the spot and wine?
I can't even imagine. And that you were so underappreciated in your time. And I'm
Well,
sorry for that.
I'm gonna let you in on a little secret,
Okay,
just between you and me.
ready.
I door dashed that shit.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Little
it was
chariot
expensive.
dash.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, yes. Camel dashed it is what they called it back in the day. Just
Right.
had it delivered. I was really sitting there, just
Oh,
coming up with fish.
love
But
it. Okay, so
but
that's interesting. So, like, did you time travel forward and see that that was a thing, and then bring that idea back so that you could look magical, or
yes,
did you? Oh, okay, all right, good. I see your game. I see
yeah.
your game. Yeah, I'm impressed.
Players got to play. You know,
I don't hate that.
I had a
I hate the
reputation
player.
to
I
keep.
hate the game.
Yeah, I don't know how I raised people from the dead. That one is still not even sure they were dead.
Well, it's a tough one. My name, Bethany. You may recognize this, Jeezy, is that this
I
is this
very biblical.
the town where you performed your final miracle
Yes,
is the town of Bethany, and that's what I'm named after. So you raised Lazarus from the dead in
they
my
your
namesake.
parents named you after a town.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, they did. Yeah, the town of Bethany, where you raised Lazarus from the dead. So to you again. Yeah, good job.
I wonder if there's
You don't really know
people.
how you did it, so that's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. Just kind of like the luck of the draw. I
Yeah,
don't
just
he,
went like this, and
yeah. I
okay.
don't think he was dead. People really didn't check that well. And I remember when I walked into Lazarus's house, I leaned over him and I accidentally stepped on his foot. And he was like, ah. And they were like, no.
Well, sure. And you just claim that because why
It's
not?
good.
Why wouldn't you
Yeah,
claim it? It's
it's
all part
good
of
press. It's good
the
press.
crowd. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
It's really smart.
But
Mhm.
yeah, they
Shot through the roof after
exactly.
credible body raising from the dead. Yeah, smart.
People just like I could do no wrong at the highest point.
It's like you walk on water.
Which is why this is why I'm looking forward to my cruise to just get off the ship and walk around on the sea
You're gonna skip around.
Yeah, I would. I'm gonna skip around on the waves and commune with the animals.
Love it. I love it. Well,
But
that you know what, this is a great segue, if you don't mind,
to go for it.
promoting another book. I have a book called Shimmerfish,
Oh,
which you might really like, actually. This book, it's a horror, thriller. It's a novella,
oh,
and it's about a young girl who escapes her abusive home somewhere in the South. And she ends up meeting a friend named Anemone who wants to be a professional mermaid, you know, like the ones who swim in the tanks in Vegas. So she starts
her
teaching
name is
how to be
Anemone.
as what?
What was her friend's name?
Oh,
And
anemone.
Anemone, like the sea creature, or
Yes,
the
like the sea
yeah,
creature. So all professional mermaids have like these professional mermaid names. So
just like drag
all
queens.
that's right. Exactly. Just like drag queens. And so she teaches her how to put the tail on and get the hair, and they do some witchy spells. And then there's a surprise twist ending. So there's mermaids in this one, but it's not real mermaids. It's people trying to become professional mermaids, which might
Oh,
be interesting. And it's called Shimmerfish, and it has a real twisty ending if you like a twisty
well,
ending.
I do, and I'm gonna pick that one up, and that'll probably be another read on my vacation.
I would really appreciate that.
Who knew?
It's
Who
a good
knew
little
that
book.
my yeah? Who knew that my cruise was going to turn into the Bethany Browning hour? But here
I would
we
love
are.
it. I'm for it. I'm all for it. But I also understand that you probably have other people you have to read their books to. So, you know, I get
Ah, forget
it.
them.
But I think
I
you like the humor in Sasquatch Baby. You'll like the humor in Shimmerfish.
I do. I love a good horror comedy. It's really the way to go because
I think so.
horror and and humor are two sides to the same coin. How many times do you get scared and then you laugh about it afterward, and then it's funny after the fact?
It is.
So
It's wonderfully cathartic. It feels good. It feels good to be safely scared.
exactly.
I think that that's what attracts me to horror and horror movies, and the Bible, which is terrifying. Um,
Yes,
there's this sort of safety built in that you can watch your characters face fears that you have, and they come out of it on the other side, or the bad guys die, or whatever, and you're still safe in your home, and it allows you to kind of work through some of those anxieties, and I love that about horror. I think
it
that's just
does.
great
And you
genre.
can even use the humor to misdirect because you're
Right.
laughing 1 minute and then the next minute something terrifying can happen.
Well, yeah, like that moment in Hereditary when the girl's head is out the window, right?
Yes,
So okay, and she hits and it's terrible, but I could not stop laughing.
it
Like,
is. Look, it's horrific, but the way that it happened, and you just laugh because that was a tense scene building up because she's pretty much suffocating from
yeah,
anaphylaxis,
yes.
and then she's like, "I'm gonna hang my head out the window to get some fresh air," and boy, did that head get some air.
She got
That
seriously.
caught good
It
air.
I mean, I'm sure it's unintentionally hilarious, but it is like there's just something about it that just makes you, gut laugh over stuff like that. And I love moments like that in books too. And so many books have those, and your assistant's books have those as
Yes, yes.
well, have those moments where you're just like you gasp because it's just so funny and so horrible, and like what kind of deranged mind came up with this?
Yeah, yeah, that's
Your
that's the
assistant.
question. That's the question. You know you've done it right when people literally, just like I asked you at the beginning, what the hell is wrong with you? That's when
I
you know that you've landed something special.
That's right. Exactly. I love it when people think I'm just deranged. Like, but I'm actually not. I'm actually pretty normal. I'm
That's
just
the
willing
thing,
to like
right?
in my art, I'm just willing to explore darker, scarier,
Mhm.
funnier, quirkier themes, But if you just met me walking around, you think I'm just a normal middle-aged woman, empty
Right.
nester,
Not harboring these weird stories all up in your noggin. But yeah,
dark,
that's
primate sex
like
thoughts.
my assistant is a boring IT business analyst during the day
During the
for a
day,
company that develops software for multi-level marketing companies.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
My day job is boring too. But but that's what you do. It's like well, I don't want to say that in case somebody from work is watching this, but I actually love my job. But, it frees up if you have something that's not so taxing on your creativity during the day, you can use that time after hours to create these wild fictions. And I
Right.
think that that's something that people don't realize about a lot of artists is that our real lives are actually kind of uninteresting. And we just take all of these thoughts and imaginative things and put them into our work.
Exactly. And that's, it is a catharsis. And some people, go out and drink or party, and other people might just completely shut down and just turn on the Netflix and watch whatever the flavor of the day is. And then, but then there's those who just have to sit down and spend an additional few hours in front of the computer after having spent all day in front of the computer for their day job, and then just write out a story. And that's
Yeah.
important, because without those people, we wouldn't have entertainment. Think of how many movies are inspired by books.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I had more than that, but I just kind of
Oh, no,
petered it. Yeah.
but I mean, that's the thing about anybody who wants to write, whether you're an indie author or you end up getting traditionally published, there are plenty of traditionally published authors who still have full-time jobs,
Right.
during the day, and they're doing this on the weekend. And the thing is that I think is really hard for people, particularly in this economy, in this day and age, that to write a book, whether it's traditionally published or whether it's self-published, um, it's all unpaid labor,
It
and
is.
so you have to find a way to justify the time, because we all think like capitalists, right? Like, is this a waste of time if it's not making any money? Well, if you're going to be an author, you really have to find another reason to keep going, because the money, it happens for some, but really not for most,
And the
and I think
money doesn't really
people
happen until you get that number one bestseller, and then it gets optioned, and that's really when things kind of take off. Um,
yeah.
Other than that, I knew a author who was a New York Times best-selling author, and his book was turned into a movie in 19, I want to say 81 or whatever, and he still continued being a doctor because um he probably just loved money. True, but
Nothing wrong with that.
right. It wasn't like he wasn't making money hand over fist by being a New York Times bestselling author.
Right, right. Right. And
So
I think that's the reality. It's you're either a writer or you're not, and the thing is that people like us, we're going to continue doing this because it's what we want to spend our life force, our energy
that's
doing.
why I'm working on the Holy Bible Part Two, not to
Oh,
not to
yeah,
be confused with
I
the Book of
really do
Mormon.
think we need to know what happens next.
Yeah,
It is time for you to write that
right.
sequel.
Not
Um,
to, not the unauthorized Book of Mormon. That was not my.
no,
Yeah.
yeah, we need to talk about. You should probably talk about that more. How that's not your book, right?
Well, I'm prepping litigation, so I really can't say anything more on the matter.
Okay, good to know. All right. But yeah, so you're either a writer or you're not. You're either going to sit down and write your books, whether people read them or not. I mean, if you're trying to get into this because you think you're going to be, because you want to be the next Gillian Flynn, because everybody does, or whoever, um, maybe temper that a little bit, because that's just kind of not how most people's journeys go. It does happen that way for some people, but for most of us, it's day after day of showing up at the screen and looking at a blank page and making something out of nothing,
Oh,
so
and what a journey, though. What a journey
yeah.
to start with a blank page and then just keep writing until the story is told. And it doesn't even matter how many pages. You have short stories, novelettes, novellas, novels, epics. Some people don't know when to stop writing.
That's right.
Some,
I'm never going to write a 150,000 word book.
no, 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 not me. I don't have that kind of attention span.
I know, I can't keep up. When you get that many characters, it's like, ugh, I can read it, but I can't write it. I get too confused.
Right,
So,
right. It's like the Bible has way too many characters. I'm gonna make that mistake again.
I mean, yeah, just make it one, just you this time. Just
Yeah,
you.
I'm thinking of calling it Modern Cheesy Modern World.
Oh, I like
And it's
it.
going to be about how I ended up in Baltimore with my assistant's hand up my backside.
That's right. Okay, I would actually read this, and would love to know your whole story, because there's 2,000 years unaccounted for.
There is, and I think people are owed an explanation.
I think people are owed an explanation. I think especially those of us who are a little confused about your followers right now, we are owed an explanation about what
I
the heck.
don't know they strayed so far from the message, but I will address that in the Holy Bible too. Modern Jeezy, modern world.
Thank you. Yes,
Yeah,
I cannot wait to read that. And I'll be on your street team if you'd like
yeah,
to
I would
get.
appreciate that.
Yeah, I have never been on a street team before, but I'll be on your street team for that. I will help you get that out.
I got
Yeah.
you. I got
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, we work together, you and I. We're
So
friends.
one last thing, you wrote a movie. So you also you're an independent screenwriter as well.
That is correct. Okay, so the truth about my writing credit on that is that I helped with the writing.
You
But
punched it up a
my,
bit?
my partner George actually wrote that script, and
Okay.
he actually shot that film and funded it and did. It's called War of the Wills. I'm in it a little bit with my voice. I do a voiceover character.
Okay.
It's a great independent horror movie. It's smart, it's funny, it's a micro budget. We made it on like $20,000. It's got real
Ah,
actors in it. We shot it all on location. It's a quality independent film, and it's available on Amazon and Tubi.
it is. It's on Amazon Prime, and I was going to watch it last night, but
Oh,
it turns out I got a COVID shot during the. I got a Fauci ouchie, as I
oh,
call it, and
yeah.
because I'm going on the cruise, and I don't want to get COVID.
Oh, yeah.
Even though I could probably just cure it myself by healing myself, but that's a very vulgar display of power. And if I want to make everybody else walk around with congestion and breathing issues, then what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Yeah, I think you're setting a good example that you're the
Yeah,
human embodiment of God on
right.
earth. So you
Even
behave
though
as
I, yeah, even though I feel like I've suffered enough, this is what I do. So I don't want to get the COVID. So I got the Fauci ouchie, and um, the arm is kind of dead right now.
little stiff.
So
Yeah, it hurts a little.
a
Yeah, and you
little.
get a little under the weather. But so
Right. I did. So that was the point. I got sleepy, and then I went to sleep without actually starting the movie. But that is on the docket for tonight.
so much. That actually, I'm very, very, very appreciative of all this attention that you're giving me. Really, this is a fun format. You've been so supportive of me from the get-go, and you know how hard it is as an independent author. And I just
Oh
really
yeah.
want to thank you for being so open and friendly and welcoming,
Oh.
supportive, and all of those things. It's just been being an independent author has been a great journey. I've got to meet people like you, and people are really really nice about independent authors these days, and it's been wonderful to feel your support and the support of all your viewers and the support of all the people on threads. It's just been a very good experience. So I thank you very, very much. You're a big
You
part of it.
are welcome. And I'm so glad that we got to meet. And I think that I would say that we are definitely internet friends.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
definitely friends. Like you're the kind of friend that you're the internet friend that if you needed something, I would do it for you. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I would help you in any way that I can. Now this is how you meet people these days. This is how you find your tribe. And so just because I only know you on threads, that doesn't mean that I don't consider you a friend.
I like the way that you kind of broke the fourth wall and started talking about this guy. Come down
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Well, it's all, there are good people out there and you two are one of them.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
You're never going to be on screen again.
Okay.
No, I didn't want to be. Don't.
Oh, okay. It's hard. It's hard to put yourself out there. I get it. Yeah.
So this was wonderful. Is there anything else that you have coming down the pipe that you want the
No.
viewers to know?
Well, no, I've got so much out there right now. So just to recap, we've got Sasquatch Baby, which you've got on the corner.
Yes.
We've got Shimmerfish, Mermaids, um,
Mermaids,
Dead Spread and Queen of Tentacles, Tarot
witchcraft, and crows.
Ravens,
Ravens, ravens, ravens.
who can pick locks and kind of talk.
So smart.
And so we've got that. And then Troubles Afoot, which is available. It's Kindle only, but also very fun. And Men Going Mad is a collection of two
Oh,
short stories that I think is Kindle Unlimited, actually. So you can just go pick that. It's It's probably like a 20-minute read. And then I'm currently working on a novella, which I should have finished up probably by the end of this month. And then I'm gonna do another novella, and I'm gonna try to get them traditionally published, like you said, as two novellas in one. So they kind of are complementary. So that's what I'm working on right now.
You definitely have me in your corner. So you can actually use you can feel free to drop Jeezy of Nazarene as your agent. And you should just be able to go right to publishing houses.
That'd be great. I would love for you to negotiate my contracts. I mean, that would be like, oh.
Yes, absolutely. I've never done that, and I can't imagine it will work out well for you, but I'll be glad to do it.
How about we'll see? We'll just see how it goes.
Yes. Just let them Yes, let them know, and I'll work my magic.
Okay.
My holy power. Bethany, it was wonderful having you on this episode of the Jeezy Reader. Thank you for your time and for being so wonderful. Thank you again, Bethany Browning. Everybody go out and buy her books. And you will definitely enjoy them. My name is Jeezy of Nazarene, and this has been the Jeezy Reader.